What is up, Jabronis? JJ back here from Run Pure Bets, talking a little MLB Sunday, April, 24th. So yesterday we go to 1-1, split the plays. Now, pending the time you bet the Padres, you would have made a little coin because, like I said, they closed about 120 on, I mentioned that on Twitter. But and I know you sick fucks aren't betting, 9 o'clock games at 12 in the afternoon. Well, a lot of you anyway. So hopefully you made a little coin there. If you had the balls to fade the Dodgers in that spot, got a little tricky late. It's always a shame, right? Because both first fives won, and both games became a late sweat where Houston blew the lead, and Padres blew the lead. But at least Padres got out of there, so we split. Could have been worse. As for today, obviously the show's running a little early. So, if you normally watch the show at 12, just watch it back at 12. This isn't rocket science, LOL. But yeah, got a little niece birthday party today, early. So, here we are, nice and early. Hope you're all enjoying your weekend thus far. What's up, Leroy? Let's shoot for a good day. As you can see, I'm wearing the hat forward today, changing things up. I don't know. All right. So without further ado, let's just slide in. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a big NBA guy, but I do enjoy watching NBA playoffs. Playoffs have been fun, right? Playoffs has been fun. And even these people that keep storming the court, I guess in Memphis, that's fantastic. I hope that trend continues. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. But yeah, I guess let's talk on these games. So first game up, and by the way, I have two bets that I'll talk through today that I bet. Some of the numbers even got a little better pending your book. That's why you got to keep a lot of options. But Tampa and Boston. So Shane McClanahan and Rich Hill. I've kind of become a decent-sized McClanahan fan. I mean, I wasn't early last year, but the kid is good. When you watch him pitch, he consistently hits a lot of corners, and if he's got a favorable pitcher's ump, he's absolutely brutal to hit against. And even for a left-hander, he's really good against righties. Rich Hill, the journeyman, who these days probably, I think, throws like an 83-mile-an-hour fastball. But, a lot of it's curveball, right? And as long as he doesn't get a splinter, he's usually good or decent. He's not having a great start this year, though. But, the Rays line up and down, how much pressure can they really put on a lefty? But this is a really good spot for McClanahan. And yesterday's game was kind of silly, right? Red Sox get no hit and then almost won the game in the extra innings, and then blew the lead in extra innings. So that was a bit of a wild ride if you did bet that game. I did not, but as for this game, I'm interested in what the lineup's going to look like. You always get interesting lineups on Sunday, or you often get interesting lineups on Sunday. Look at Tampa's lineup. I mean, you got Taylor Walls batting fifth. This lineup is woof. So, do you want to lay that much? Do you want to lay that much bread with Tampa in this spot, assuming Boston puts up a favorable lineup? I mean, they even got Harold Ramirez hitting third. Yikes. This lineup is rough for Tampa today. Which, is assuming, I mean, it actually wouldn't even matter what you'd get from on the McClanahan end as far as what Boston's lineup looks like. 7.5 under looks pretty decent, even first five. The problem is, of course, Rich Hill, right? Because doesn't matter what the lineup is, he can walk guys like no other sometimes. But call it a slight lean 7.5 under if, assuming, actually it wouldn't even matter. If Red Sox go opening day lineup, McClanahan's just super good. Call it a slight lean under 7.5, first five under. Don't love the spot because it is a low number for two lineups that have potency. But the Rays certainly sat a few bats today. Tigers, Rockies, nice to see Mickey get his 3,000th hit yesterday and 3,001st hit yesterday. And then it seemed like they partied after. Right, because the Rockies, but they shut him out in the second game. And then here, Mickey, they stormed back a little bit, so they did win 3-2, though, the Rockies. Here, Mickey's taking another day off. That dude's probably partying like there's no tomorrow. And maybe, I don't know on the Detroit end, but that's a nice little momentum win for them. And do you cruise a bit from there in terms of, I know it's more narrative driven, but the Tigers being 130 here to me is a little silly. Now, I don't mind Tyler Alexander, but it's not the same as the spot a few days ago, or I guess that pitching matchup ended up being yesterday where the Tigers won 100-0. But so here, Chad Kuhl, I mentioned this in his last start. I'm not a Chad Kuhl guy. This dude has awful peripherals or advanced peripherals. or he's had advanced peripherals. Not having a bad year this year in that category, but obviously his ERA, his surface level stuff's good or been good. I think this line's a little heavy though in favor of the Tigers. I don't think they warrant this line personally in this spot. So call it slight value for me on the dog here in the Rockies. I don't love the spot though because the Rockies outside of Coors are just often a bit of a disaster with the sticks, even with pitching. And I'm not a Chad Cool guy, so it makes it even worse. So yeah, don't love the spot, but slightly in Rockies at the current numbers. Yankees and Guardians, Garrett Cole, Aaron Savale. I like Savale. He's not excellent by any means, but his ERA is not real. He's better than this ERA for sure. And Garrett Cole, of course, as well. Now, there's the people that think the substance stuff, the sticky stuff, if you will, is inhibiting Garrett Cole, but he should be fine overall. Definitely better than what he's currently shown this year. This total might seem super low, but I will say this. These teams have pretty good bullpens, especially the Yankees. And these two pitchers, you'd figure should go 5 or 6 innings. This isn't exactly hitting weather here in New York today. And it's not like they've been blistering the ball in the series either. Yesterday, it seemed like runs came in bunches late, but outside of that, it was a pretty stagnant game. I think it'll be tough for you to line up and bet the under at this number. But, just call it slightly favorable for me. I would put this at 6.5. But with that said, not enough for me to really want to pull the trigger on it. So lean under, but don't love it. Braves, Marlins, Bryce Elder, Jesus Luzardo. These are two pitchers that I do not like. I haven't liked them. I think Luzardo's okay for a lefty, but the dude finds ways to get himself into a lot of jams. And then, of course, occasionally doesn't get out of them. And you look, when your whip is consistently in that 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 area, you're going to be consistently navigating in and out of trouble. I don't love him by any means. And then Bryce Elder, I have a lot of data on him in general. But obviously super young kid. Could turn out to be something special. Could not turn out to be something special. He's very young, very raw. Doesn't have a lot of starts under his belt in total. This will be a stay away spot for me. I think 8.5 at this park in warm weather shows or should have some value towards the over. It's warm today in Atlanta, right? It's about 80 degrees. I don't know the wind situation. Let me see. What are we looking at wind-wise at this park today? What the fuck is this game? Marlins, Braves. So wind's blowing slightly in, so not helping there. But again, you're looking at 80 degrees in this park. Fast forward a month or two, when it's going to be 90 in this park, you're going to consistently see totals with two arms like this, 9.5, 10 in this park. So just keep that in mind. So call it a slight lean over that number of 8.5. And look, at least today my mouse clicker is working, right? Whether we win or lose today on the sheet or on your bets or on these bets, whatever. We're not dealing with technology issues. I can type. I can click around. I don't think you guys realized, or maybe you did because the show went off the rails a bit yesterday, but a lot of it was Rick going off the cuff. I couldn't click on anything. I didn't have my notes to view. It was rough. It was rough for your boy, but we got through. Of course, RM, you got it. What do you think of going back to the Houston money line? So I'm going to talk on that game actually once we get to it, Jordan. It will be another best bet. Not the same exact bet though, so I guess stay tuned. Okay, so let's go up to the next game. Giants Nationals. Joan Adon or Adon. Adon. Oh, Logan Webb. Logan Webb continued to have another impressive start to the year after a great year last year. The dude's, I don't want to say he's a dark horse for the Cy Young because he should be in people's conversations for the Cy Young this year with how good he pitched last year. The Nationals, though, right? I mean, Juan Soto is not exactly, having the start I'm sure he would have liked to have had. And the Nationals are not hitting. It's 4 straight losses for them. No more than 3 runs in a game. They're not exactly getting a lot of guys on either. It's not like they're leaving guys on base. Just been a rough start for them. But again, I think we all expect the Nationals to not have a good season. It's not like this is surprising. Do the Giants get the sweep today? You would figure they would exit this series with a sweep. But, it's another early game for a West Coast team, 3 in a row, or 2 in a row at least. So, I think this is priced properly, actually. Minus 200 makes sense because the Giants likely win this game 2 out of 3 times. Consistently 2 out of 3 times. So I think that's fair. And that's for the total 8. Look, you can keep betting the unders in this series with these teams. You're not going to get pinned doing it, or at least you haven't been pinned doing it. I don't love the spot, though. I think this is a fair number. Again, you're looking at, it's probably warm today. If it's warm in Atlanta, it's probably warm in Washington. yeah, it's 80. So, you're talking another park where the ball carries in warm weather. And I know that we've already discussed how I think, or we all kind of are in consensus, a lot of folks, that they've doctored the baseball again to make it harder to hit. I don't know why, but you're seeing a lot of unders and the sample size is growing too large to ignore. But with that said, total of 8 in this park in 80-degree weather. I know you have a decent arm on the Giants end, not so much on the Nats end, but that's a low number for this park. So call it slightly in the over, but I don't love it. So we'll move on. Reds, Cardinals. Promise you we'll get to our best bets. The first game will be the Astros game, which is at 2 o'clock. But until then, we keep progressing. Nick Lodolo, Adam Wainwright. So Lodolo is another young kid, first year in the majors. Hasn't had the start I'm sure he would have hoped. And the Reds, it feels like, have lost 15 games in a row, even though they're 2-13. You can continue to be that individual that says, this is the time the Reds win a baseball game. But again, you will bury yourself with that betting strategy. You just keep going on and on and on with a team that keeps losing in the sport that's streaky to begin with. This is not a sport where you buck streaks. I say that all the time, but I don't hate to sound like a broken record, but it's so true. You don't buck streaks in the sport. The Reds could win today, but it was like I said yesterday, right, where they were like practically a pick'em. You're not going to get many opportunities this season where the Reds are a pick'em. And I promise when you do, it will likely not be favorable to bet the Reds, especially when they're playing a decent team. When they're playing another bad team, you can make the argument, but Cardinals are not a bad team by any means, and they're playing well. Here they get Wainwright on the hill. Line might seem short, likely because it is. I don't know what the lineup's going to look like for this game. You would figure the Reds are going to keep trying to put out good lineups to win baseball games, which it looks like their lineup's almost as good as it'll get. But the Cardinals countered with a decent lineup themselves. So, Lodolo's a lefty, and we know what the Cardinals can do to left-handers. This is just a tough spot to want to feel good about the Reds. I mean, look, they might win today, but man, at this number, there's some value on the cards here. I personally would cap this up past 150. So 145 still has some slight value on the cards, but nothing really, truly nothing great. And the Reds continue to see money. Again, it could be from your martingale, quote unquote, sharps that will continue to bet this team until they win. But that's just a silly mentality in the sport. So, okay. Moving on. Nothing to love there for me personally. Moving on, Astros, Blue Jays. So yesterday we had the Stros. Nice for them to get a 2-1 lead over Manoah, and not look back until the 7th where things went a little off the rails. And they blew the lead and then didn't get it back from there. Look, now they're favored at minus 130 against Kikuchi. Now, I faded Kikuchi in his last start against Boston, and I'm going to indirectly do it again here. I don't know what this lineup is going to look like for the Astros, but I can't imagine the Astros are going to put out a bad lineup today with the idea that they might get swept here. The Astros might lose this game, but what I have liked is I've seen their sticks kind of come alive a bit. They haven't done a lot at all with runners in scoring position, and they haven't done a lot at all moving runners over. But this is a really good spot for them. As mentioned, I'm not a Kikuchi guy, especially when he's on the road. And he struggles with right-handed bats, and we know what the Astros bring to the table, right? And that's right-handed bats. I like their team total over 4.5 at dog money. Let me see what FanDuel's pumping for it. Hold on a second, because maybe if this dropped to 4, I'd rather give you guys 4, give you a little protection. I bet at 4.5 dog money. Let me see. Because this line, when I bet it, this line wasn't available at FanDuel last night, so I couldn't bet it there. Let me see. Astros. Yeah, so it's 4 minus 122. I'd personally prefer you save the VIG there and just go. I think DraftKings has it plus 115. So, it was plus 115 when I woke up this morning. So let's do that. I'll be honest. So I bet this plus 100 yesterday at 4.5. So now it's plus 115. So you guys can get the better number. Over 4.5 plus 115. And this is not something I commonly do. In terms of betting home favorites, team total overs. Now, you'll never see me do this with big favorites. A small favorite like this, though, where against a team in the Blue Jays, which can swing the sticks. And the Astros, their pen took a decent beating yesterday. They brought in good arms late. So they're going to bring in good arms again late. The only reason I bring that up is because it'll help you get that ninth at that bottom of the ninth inning at bat. And that means a lot, right? To a line. One extra inning. Think about it this way, right? When you bet a team total over, right, and after the first inning, you don't score a run. Look at how much that swings. Now, granted, it's a bit of an egregious example because start of the game you get the first 3 bats, right? So it's always going to be extra in that sense. But you're talking like a 25, 30 cent swing, inning to inning on a total. So, it's worth 30 cents if the Blue Jays are either winning this game or get to 4 runs themselves. If the Blue Jays get to 4 runs, I mean, you're guaranteed that last at bat for the Astros or a cash. So either way, I do like the team total here for them. I think they get to Kikuchi. The Blue Jays have been using a lot of their top pen arms. I know they didn't use Romero yesterday, but they used Romero a lot recently. That's why he didn't pitch yesterday. So I think the Astros have a good shot to see a decent bullpen. And Kikuchi just really doesn't ever go deep into games. So you're probably going to get 4 or 5 innings out of the pen today from Toronto. So yeah, really like the spot for the Astros here. I know their sticks haven't been super live in this series. This is a good spot for them. They are home. They're against a lefty. And they should be seeing a depleted version of the bullpen from the Jays. So yeah, like the spot, especially at dog money. If you wanted to save yourself and go to 4 at heavier vig, you can go minus 122 FanDuel where you can get 4. But yeah, plus 115. DK's a good spot, good target. Wind is blowing out of Minnesota as we speak. I haven't even talked that game yet. Okay, so FanDuel has 4 at plus 100. Wait, really? I was just looking at that. FanDuel has 4 at plus 100. I think you're looking at the under. Leroy. Just to be clear, the way I see it over 4 minus 122, under 4 plus 100. So I would just confirm that. Look, if it's over 4 plus 100, shoot for it. That's a great number. But I'm on FanDuel myself, and maybe it's different state to state. But in Jersey here, the under is what's 4 plus 100, on the over is minus 122. Okay. Any thoughts on Cardinals, Rangers, Giants, and Blue Jays to win parlay? So Darryl, I'll tell you this. Your DK is plus. Let me see, Ray. Actually, I didn't check. Early this morning it was plus 115, Ray. So let me. It might be down to plus 105. If it is, I'll just change it. I don't want to give you bets that don't exist. Let me see. Game props. Oh yeah, it is. It's back down to plus 105. You're right, Ray. Good call. So let me just correct that. Plus 105. Yeah, so that already saw some steam backwards after it went forwards overnight. But yeah, I bet plus 100, so plus 105 is fine. What's up, Buzzer Beater? Wind is blowing out in Minnesota as we speak. So let's talk on the Minnesota game. So Twins, White Sox, Chris Archer, Lucas Giolito, very cold in Minnesota today. It's been kind of the trend, right? Look, I'm not really an Archer guy. I mean, he was good back in the day, right? In the Rays and in the Pirates, he was a bit of a shit show. And now he's in the Twins. He's almost like a glorified relief pitcher these days. Lucas Giolito's excellent, though. Here's my thing. This is just a tough game to cap. I think Archer's getting a lot of respect here, and I don't know if it's warranted. Buxton's back, which helps. This Twins lineup for sure. He's pound for pound the best player in baseball when he's healthy. This White Sox lineup absolutely mashes, though, but they mash righties. Chris Archer's been a pitcher over his career that has shown reverse splits at times against right-handed bats. It's a cold day in Minnesota, though. Wind's blown out, though, to Scott's point, which definitely will help a total over. But, man, try hitting a ball regularly in 45-degree weather. It's not fun, especially getting on the hands. Not my cup of tea personally in this game. Anything I like, I'd call it slight value on the Sox, but I don't love it. All right, let's move on to the next game. Cubs, Pirates, Justin Steele, JT Brubaker. So the Cubs put up 3 touchdowns yesterday against the Pirates. That was an impressive showing from quite a few bats there. JT Brubaker likely is to make things just as easy for these Cubs bats. But with that said, better pitching matchup today overall than what was yesterday. Justin Steele has been okay. He's got good strikeout stuff, but again, he's just okay. Do the Pirates sticks finally come alive in this series? They've been a little lax relatively. I mean, granted, they had a few 4-run outbursts, but they haven't done anything outrageous this series. They've won games this year primarily with their pitching. But again, you look at their lineup and that makes sense, right? They're not going to, out hit every team they play. That's for sure. And this team's not exactly projected to have a great year to begin with. This total feels a little high today. A little cool in Chicago at 60-ish. Wind is blown out slightly, but not like it was yesterday. But I'll be honest, the wind wasn't a big deal yesterday. It was just a lot of base hits. The wind didn't. I mean, the few. I think there was only a few home runs. I know the first baseman hit one for Chicago, but that would have been out at most parks. That thing was a bullet. To me, the total's a little high today on this park. At 9.5. As far as the line, probably makes sense. 160 is fair. So it'll be a stay away from me. Call it slight lean in favor of the under. Angels Orioles. This will be another best bet for me. Jose Suarez, Chris Ellis. What I've loved about these Orioles in this series is they are slapping it with the sticks. I know that they're going for a sweep today. Will they get it? Will they not? Who knows? But what I do know is that I get the Orioles who are swinging the baseball bats well against a very susceptible left-hander in Suarez. Assuming the Orioles don't sit on their laurels and bench a few guys today. They have some righties who can do some damage in this lineup today against Suarez. So yeah, I'm riding their sticks again. Let me see what current number is because I don't want to screw this up like I did last time. Or I could do with the Astros bet. So current line at DraftKings, 3.5, 125. I got this yesterday, 3.5, 124 at FanDuel. Let me see what FanDuel looks like. Well, this might be higher actually because now this total's 9 and VIG'd, and the total banged down in favor of the Orioles. This might be worse than 124 now. Let me see. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's actually worse because now it's 4 plus 102 here. Okay, so let's do what DraftKings has, which of course it just moved as I don't know how this just moved as I was talking. Orioles, it was 125 really 10 seconds ago. Orioles team total over 3.5 minus 130. And that's at DK. So again, to me, you're getting a team that's swinging the bat really well in this series, and actually going back 3 straight games now, and they're getting a susceptible lefty. We're guaranteed the 9 at bats. So yeah, to me, love the spot overall for them. And look, the Orioles, you're going to see it with this team. They're going to go through hitting streaks because they do have live bats. And I've even seen this, like this team this year, I don't know what the numbers are, but with runners in scoring position, they have to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. They have gotten a tremendous amount of guys on base this season and aren't converting runs at the rate they should be. They definitely don't have the home run ball going for them either. But again, hitting the ball well, swinging it well, susceptible lefty, 9 at bats, love the spot. So yeah, 3.5 minus 130. I got minus 124 last night. So it's only 6 cents difference. So that should be fine. Athletics, Rangers, Cole Irvin, Garrett Richards. I've always been a Garrett Richards guy. It's a shame with him with the injuries, where he's kind of been playing Russian roulette with baseball teams, moving in, moving out, moving in. This is a cold game in LA, in Oakland. So, take that for what you will, because this is already a pitcher's park to begin with. And the total at 7.5 might seem low, but it's really not, because this is, I'd argue, one of the best pitchers parks in the American League, and maybe next to Seattle, and it's cold. So, yeah. And I like Garrett Richards, and Cole Irvin is definitely not bad by any means. A lefty that's often really good against lefties and struggles a bit with righties. Rangers definitely have the lineup that could do some damage on Irvin. But overall, stay away from me. And again, this will be another game where I call it a slight lean in favor of the under again. Mariners, Royals, Robbie Ray, Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez is a tough pitcher to watch at times. He has good K stuff, but man, can he be erratic? Robbie Ray, off to a decent start. I wouldn't consider it excellent. He gets a good matchup here against the Royals. His total's 8. It was 7.5 last night. It's another total that, I'll be honest, I know there was a lot of runs yesterday. I don't understand this steam up. If this somehow went to 8.5, I would definitely fire in the under. I don't think it will though. This could definitely be a first 5 under as well. Problem is Carlos Hernandez, right? I mean, Carlos Hernandez can give this up in 1 inning, which makes it tough to watch. But yeah, again, considering this was 7.5 last night, now 8, and I kind of liked it at 7.5. So I really call it my strongest lean of the video, actually, under 8. And again, if this went to 8.5, I'll definitely fire myself during the day today. Padres, Dodgers, was nice to get the Padres home yesterday. Again, it's like I said all year. I mean, anytime you're gonna get Yu Darvish as a pick'em at home, or at dog money at home, it doesn't matter. I don't care who they're facing. I mean, granted, if the lineups are like, if a lot of guys are sitting for the Padres, sure, it matters, but they didn't have people sitting yesterday, so I think there's a lot of good value in it. And after he got a little rattled early on, he just cruised from there. Sean Manaea, though, is a pitcher I don't love. He's a big lefty, throws hard and throws good off-speed stuff, but he has had some struggles in Oakland over the previous seasons. And Clayton Kershaw is just Clayton Kershaw, right? This line feels a little soft in favor of the Dodgers, though. Feels like this should be bigger. I know the Padres won yesterday, but they tanked their pen to win yesterday. So, Yeah. Very slightly in the Dodgers at this number 145. You could go first 5, lay the half run, but I don't love that personally. I think this line should be up past 155, and so I think you're getting some value on the Dodgers there. Diamondbacks, Mets, Madison Bumgarner, Tyler McGill, 2 good arms, 2 teams hitting the balls, 2 teams swinging the sticks really well. 8.5 total. I'm kind of torn on this total, right? Because I actually kept this anywhere between 8.5 and 9. It's like 8.7 ish, but I wanted to bet this over so bad. I can't. This is a huge number for this park with 2 decent arms. And I know these teams have been swinging the sticks really well this series, and you can just keep riding that. But I don't love it. The Mets feel like they're getting a ton of respect here, though. And for what reason? I know the Mets are playing well, but Diamondbacks have hit the ball really well in this series. And I'm not going to assume that's going to stop today. So, overall, I mean, you're looking at, back-to-back 5-run games from the D-backs. And I think they get McGill. And the Mets bullpen has been trash to start this year. I mean, granted, they're 11-5, but their bullpen hasn't exactly been stellar for them. They've gotten good starts from their starting pitchers, and they've had live sticks as well. I want to bet the Diamondbacks team total over in this spot. I feel like we're really getting a steam spot that doesn't make sense to bet. I would have loved if this total opened at 8, and then we would have gotten a much better number on the D-backs. You can but again, like the Orioles, you can ride the D-back sticks in this spot. I don't love the idea. I like McGill. I think he's a decent arm for sure. That's what's kind of getting me away from the bet entirely. Last but not least, Sunday Night Baseball, Phillies, Brewers, Aaron Nola, Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer continues to get outs, and last year he looked really good out of nowhere. And this year he's doing much of the same. Aaron Nola, much like Zach Wheeler, is having his own fair share of struggles. Philadelphia is 6-9. Philadelphia. And they really shouldn't be. They have too much talent to have this type of start. And the Brewers are 9-6. I'd argue the exact opposite is true of them for having a good start. You would figure, much like Wheeler yesterday, you would get a decent start from Nola. But look, we saw Wheeler yesterday, right, have a 3-0 lead in the top of the 5th. God, I couldn't even imagine actually betting that first 5 and being up 3-0, and then he gives up 4 runs in that top of the 5th to blow that. Tough scene. As for this game, I don't love anything in it. I'll be honest. I think the line's fair at 170. I think the total's accurate at 8. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be 60, so it's going to feel a little chilly, maybe a little wind as well. Don't love anything in this game, and it'll be a complete stay away from me. Okay, so let me look at some of these comments. Awesome money line. Astros team 20. Awesome. Good. Best of luck, Jordan. Talk to you guys live at plus 120 when they're up 2-0. Don't see that a lot in baseball. I mean, that's so I'd assume Eternal Fiend. You probably bet that plus 120 right in the middle of an inning where the Angels were about to bat, probably. And that line actually does make a little sense because the Angels, I think, were minus 190 or minus 200, 220 in that game to start. So that line kind of makes sense, to be honest. So I could see it. What's up, B-Rad? My man. Any thoughts on my Cleveland totals moving down? I like the over at 7.5 now to 7. So I mentioned it a little bit. Like, I think Savale, first of all, there hasn't been a lot of runs in this series. Like yesterday, there was runs late in the game with the bullpens. But like, there really hasn't been a whole lot of runs in this series. A lot of hits, to be honest, in this series. A lot of strikeouts as well. Overall, I think that I personally, I said it, Rich, I have the total slightly above 6.5. So for me, 7.5 would have been a decent spot actually to bet it under. But look, Cole's due for some progression to the mean, and so is Savale. And it's cold here. Well, it's not cold. It's like 55-ish and windy. And again, runs haven't exactly been a premium in that series either. So call it slightly for me in favor of the under. But I get it. It's not easy to bet under 7 at Yankee Stadium and feel good about it. If anyone has been taking the Reds opponents minus 1.5, it's 11 wins in a row. Yeah, so B-Rad, run line against the Reds this year has been a cash cow and will likely continue to be so for a decent part of the year. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? They're projected to be the worst team, one of the worst teams in baseball, and they're living up to that hype. So I'm sure that'll median out a bit as the season goes on. But tough stretch for the Reds. Okay, guys, so that wraps it up. I bet 2 games today. I bet the Stros team total over 4.5 plus 100, and now it's plus 105. And I bet the Orioles team total over 3.5 at -124, and now it's -130. Both games still playable for sure. So may the odds be ever in our favor. I want to thank you again for watching. Gamble responsibly, stay safe, and as always, run pure. See you guys next time.